Jar Binks. Jar Binks from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. George Lucas introduced this Gungan character in 1999 as comic relief, and audiences quickly divided over him. Jar Jar stumbles through battle droids by accident, gets his tongue stuck in a pod racer energy beam, and somehow becomes a general despite having zero military competence. His broken English speech pattern and slapstick antics turned what should have been an epic space opera into a cartoon. The character was heavily criticized, and actor Ahmed Best received death threats and considered self-inflicted harm. Lucas later reduced Jar Jar's screen time in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith dramatically. The character's legacy became a cautionary tale about misjudging audience tolerance. Jar Jar remains the gold standard for annoying sci-fi characters, with his name becoming shorthand for characters that ruin otherwise good films. Dr. Shaw. Elizabeth Shaw in Prometheus. Noomi Rapax played this scientist in Ridley Scott's 2012 prequel to Alien, and her character made bafflingly stupid decisions throughout. Shaw removes her helmet on an alien planet after a quick atmosphere scan, trusting technology over basic safety protocols. She watches her boyfriend become violently ill after infection by black goo, but before she can act, Vickers refuses him entry and kills him outside the ship. After performing emergency surgery to remove an alien squid from her own abdomen, she's running and fighting within hours as if nothing happened. Shaw trusts the android David even after he deliberately infected her partner and impregnated her with an alien organism. Her final choice to leave with David, the psychopathic robot who killed her entire crew, defies all logic. For someone supposedly representing humanity's best scientific minds, Shaw displayed the survival instincts of a lemming. Her character's doctorate in archaeology apparently didn't include courses in critical thinking or self-preservation. Willie Scott. Willie Scott from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Kate Capshaw's character in the 1984 film spent the entire runtime screaming, complaining, and actively making situations worse. Willie refuses to help during action sequences, instead shrieking while Indiana fights for their lives. She won't touch bugs despite being in a jungle, won't walk through water, and demands luxury accommodations in rural India. During the minecart chase, she closes her eyes and screams rather than helping navigate. Willie nearly gets everyone captured multiple times by alerting guards to their presence with her constant noise. She provides no skills, no useful knowledge, and no emotional support. Compared to Marion Ravenwood from Raiders of the Lost Ark or Elsa Schneider from The Last Crusade, Willie stands out as utterly useless. Steven Spielberg later married Capshaw, which is the only reason this character exists. In cinema history, audiences remember Willie as the worst companion in the entire Indiana Jones franchise, a character who contributed nothing but annoyance. Dr. Isaacs. Dr. Isaacs from Resident Evil Extinction. Ian Glenn portrayed this Umbrella Corporation scientist in the 2007 film, making catastrophically stupid decisions despite supposedly being a genius. Isaacs experiments on zombies to domesticate them, which consistently fails, yet he continues the same approach expecting different results. He injects himself with an untested serum that obviously will turn him into a monster, showing zero regard for scientific method. Isaacs releases zombies into secure facilities multiple times through negligence. He keeps Alice clones in storage, but doesn't implement proper security protocols. When his serum begins transforming him, Isaacs hides the infection instead of seeking help immediately. The character had unlimited resources and advanced technology, but chose to conduct reckless experiments that endangered the few surviving humans. His death came from his own zombie creations, a fitting end for someone who couldn't grasp basic cause and effect. Isaacs represented every mad scientist cliché without any of the intelligence that should accompany the role. Captain Rhodes. Captain Rhodes from Day of the Dead. Joseph Pilato played this military commander in George Romero's 1985 zombie film, and Rhodes made every situation worse through aggressive stupidity. He leads the last remnants of humanity in an underground bunker, but treats the scientists trying to find a cure like prisoners. Rhodes threatens to kill the researchers, whose work represents humanity's only hope for survival. He refuses to provide zombies for experimentation, then complains that no progress is being made. The character wastes ammunition and manpower on dominance displays instead of actual survival strategy. Rhodes executes a soldier for being bitten instead of learning from the incident. When the bunker is breached, his poor leadership and cruel treatment of subordinates directly cause the collapse of their community. He alienates every ally and creates unnecessary conflict during a zombie apocalypse. Rhodes dies being torn apart by zombies after being shot by Bub, the intelligent zombie who salutes him before the horde devours him. His character proved that humanity's worst enemy during the apocalypse wasn't zombies, but incompetent leadership. Secretary Delacourt from Elysium. Jodie Foster played the Defense Secretary of the Orbital Paradise in Neil Blomkamp's 2013 film, and her security measures were absurdly incompetent. Delacourt runs a space station for the wealthy elite, but allows regular illegal immigration attempts from Earth. She hires a psychopathic mercenary, Kruger, who she can't control and who eventually tries to overthrow her. The entire Elysium defense system can be overridden by a simple computer program that Delacourt keeps on a single person's brain. She doesn't encrypt this world-ending security vulnerability or store it in multiple secure locations. When Kruger becomes unstable, Delacourt still brings him to Elysium despite knowing he's dangerous. Her station has magical healing beds that could solve Earth's problems, but she hoards them out of pure cruelty with no economic benefit. The character's regime collapses within days due to her terrible security planning. For someone managing humanity's most advanced technology, Delacourt displayed the strategic thinking of a shopping mall security guard. By the way, if you're enjoying this so far, I post videos like this regularly. Subscribing would really help out. Dr. Weir. Dr. Weir from Event Horizon. Sam Neill played the scientist who designed a faster-than-light spaceship in the 1997 horror film, and his incompetence killed 2 crews. Weir builds a ship that uses a black hole to fold space, and when it disappears for 7 years, he joins a rescue mission to recover it. The Event Horizon returns with the entire crew dead or missing. When Weir joins the investigation, he ignores mounting warning signs that the ship is dangerous. The vessel shows him visions of his deceased wife, clearly a psychological attack, but he trusts them. Weir becomes possessed and actively tries to kill the rescue crew instead of fighting the influence. His ship design included no failsafes, no AI monitoring, and no way to shut down the gravity drive remotely. The character's scientific method apparently involved building a portal to hell and hoping for the best. Though obsessed with the ship's return, Weir refuses to accept that his creation has been corrupted. He created technology that opened a gateway to a dimension of pure chaos without considering the consequences. Dr. Weir's legacy was 2 dead crews and a haunted spaceship that had to be destroyed. Prometheus Crew. The entire crew of the Prometheus from Ridley Scott's 2012 film. Beyond Dr. Shaw, nearly every character made fatally stupid decisions, despite being chosen for humanity's most important mission. Milburn, the biologist, gets lost inside the alien structure, along with Fifield, the geologist who created the mapping system. When they encounter the first alien life form, a cobra-like creature, Milburn tries to pet it like a puppy. Fifield, the geologist, also gets lost using his own technology. The crew removes their helmets in an alien environment after minimal testing. They touch unknown substances, lean over alien eggs, and split up in a horror movie scenario. Captain Janik abandons his post to sleep with Vickers, while crew members are stranded. Holloway gets drunk and depressed after one day when finding proof of alien creators should be the greatest discovery ever. The characters contaminate the alien site, bring infected crew members back to the ship, and generally act like teenagers in a slasher film. For a $1 trillion mission to find humanity's creators, Wayland Corporation apparently hired from the discount crew catalog. The Prometheus disaster resulted from bringing Earth's dumbest people to space. Tom Cooper. Tom Cooper from Interstellar. Casey Affleck played Cooper's son in Christopher Nolan's 2014 film, and Tom's stubborn stupidity endangered his entire family. Earth is dying from Dust Bowl conditions that are obviously getting worse. Tom's father leaves on a space mission to save humanity and sends recorded messages explaining they need to leave the farm. Tom refuses to abandon the family farm, despite crop failures, dust storms burying his house, and his children developing respiratory illnesses. His wife grows gravely ill from lung disease caused by the dust. Tom continues farming corn that won't grow while his son coughs blood. Over the years, Tom sends decades of messages to his father, expressing resentment and refusing help. When his sister Murph, now a scientist, visits to convince him to evacuate, Tom initially refuses her too. His stubbornness nearly killed his children for a farm that produced nothing. Tom represented every person who ignores climate data and expert warnings because of emotional attachment to a doomed status quo. Niander Wallace. Niander Wallace from Blade Runner 2049. Jared Leto played this villain in the 2017 sequel, and his master plan made zero logical sense. Wallace runs the largest corporation on Earth with unlimited resources and replicant technology. His goal is to create replicants that can reproduce naturally. Here's the problem. Wallace already manufactures millions of replicants artificially with complete control over their design. Natural reproduction would introduce genetic randomness and reduce his control. He murders his own employees and replicants casually, showing he values them as disposable tools. Wallace admits that his company's production can't meet humanity's colonization needs, but his obsession with self-replicating replicants still undermines his own control. The character is blind, apparently by choice, despite having technology that could easily fix it. He speaks in pseudo-philosophical riddles that sound deep but communicate nothing. Wallace's search for the replicant child drives the plot, but his motivation for wanting it remains unclear throughout the film. For a genius industrialist, he displayed the business acumen of someone who wants to create his own competition, Private Hudson from Aliens. Bill Paxton played this colonial marine in James Cameron's 1986 film, and while initially competent, Hudson became useless exactly when his team needed him. Hudson talks constantly about how tough and dangerous the Marines are. When the xenomorphs attack, Hudson immediately panics and has a complete breakdown. He spends crucial time screaming, "Game over, man," instead of fighting or helping devise strategy. The Marines are trapped in a hostile environment with limited ammunition and time. Hudson's panic spreads to other soldiers and undermines Ripley's authority when she tries to take command. Corporal Hicks has to physically shake Hudson and give him orders like a child. During the operation's complex defense, Hudson finally pulls himself together, but gets dragged through the floor by aliens while standing directly over a grate. The character served as comic relief, but represented the Marine who talks big, but crumbles under pressure. Paxton's performance made Hudson memorable, but the character embodied the soldier nobody wants watching their back. His famous "game over" speech wasted time the survivors needed for actual planning. Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games films. Jennifer Lawrence portrayed the reluctant hero across 4 films from 2012 to 2015, and while capable with a bow, Katniss made baffling tactical decisions. She volunteers for the Hunger Games to save her sister, but nearly dies early by running toward the cornucopia before fleeing the fight. Katniss trusts Peeta's love confession as real instead of considering it's obviously a survival strategy. She repeatedly ignores Haymitch's advice, despite him being the only reason she's alive. During the Quarter Quell, Katniss doesn't recognize she's part of a rebellion extraction plan that everyone else understood. She focuses on her love triangle with Peeta and Gale, while a war for humanity's freedom is happening. Katniss shoots President Coin at the crucial moment, which was correct, but she never explains her reasoning to anyone beforehand. She gets captured through stupid decisions multiple times, requiring rescue missions that cost lives. The character suffers from obvious PTSD but refuses help until she's completely non-functional. Katniss had plot armor that kept her alive despite making choices that should have killed her in the first film. Her status as a symbol exceeded her actual strategic thinking ability. David from Alien Covenant. Michael Fassbender played the android in Ridley Scott's 2017 film, but the focus here is the human crew who trusted him. The crew of the Covenant receives a transmission from a nearby planet and decides to investigate instead of continuing to their planned colony. Captain Orem follows David, an obvious psychopath, into a dark room filled with alien eggs. David tells Orem to look inside the egg, and Orem complies, getting face-hugged immediately. The crew watches David befriend the xenomorph and somehow doesn't realize he created them. Daniels realizes too late that David switched places with Walter, discovering the truth only as she's being sealed in cryosleep, unable to warn anyone. The crew doesn't question how David survived alone for years, on a planet he claims killed the engineers. They don't investigate the thousands of engineer corpses scattered around David's temple. The characters treat David as helpful, despite him obviously conducting experiments on their crew members. David later cuts off his own hand to impersonate Walter, fooling the crew completely. The Covenant crew competed with the Prometheus crew for worst decision-making in space. They allowed a genocidal android onto their colony ship with 2,000 sleeping colonists because nobody asked basic questions. Dr. Mann from Interstellar. Matt Damon played the legendary astronaut in Christopher Nolan's 2014 film, and Mann's stupidity killed him despite decades of experience. Mann falsified data about his planet being habitable, dooming any rescue mission sent to him. When Cooper discovers the deception, Mann tries to murder him by smashing his helmet, which could damage the only spacecraft on the planet. Mann steals a Ranger and attempts to dock with the Endurance without properly aligning, despite being trained in spacecraft operations. The docking procedure is basic astronaut knowledge that Mann should have memorized. He rushes the docking because he's impatient, not because of any emergency. Mann's attempted docking causes an explosion that kills him, and nearly destroys the Endurance, stranding the mission. The character was chosen as humanity's best, sent to find a new home, but he couldn't execute a standard docking procedure. His panic and selfishness overrode decades of training and discipline. Mann represents the astronaut who looked perfect on paper, but cracked under pressure. His death scene is darkly comedic because it resulted from impatience with a routine procedure. Cooper and Brand barely saved the mission, despite Mann sabotaging everything through incompetence and cowardice. If this was interesting to you, consider subscribing so you catch every new video. Thanks for watching.